What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cougar Cast. We're so excited for our third episode. We have a lot of exciting things planned. We have two special guests today, and we're very excited for this episode. It's going to be very fun. We're going to be talking about CAG and its multicultural background and environment. And the sponsor for today's episode is actually the Student Council, STUCO. And we just want to give a huge shout out to all the STUCO members who work so diligently in order for all the school events to happen, who plan everything and who really lead their classes and the whole student body. So yeah, welcome everybody.
Yeah, we're really excited for today's episode. I am excited for our guests. We had a lovely conversation before this, and they seem really excited, and honestly, I'm equally as excited. We have a lot of interesting and exciting topics and questions today. So, as he said, today our episode is sponsored by STUCO, and the whole school is really thankful for STUCO because they're able to put on so many great events over the years. And so today we have the president and vice president of STUCO. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure, we would love to introduce ourselves. Well, my name is Aleem. I think most of us know me already because I ran for vice president. So I come from a multicultural background as well. I have an East Asian background. My mom is Chinese, my dad is Korean, but I was born here. And actually my main language is English, which is really interesting.
Really?
So like everything just coming together, especially like at CAG, it's like a really great place, right? So yeah, that's basically about
really
me.
great.
Yeah, and so my name is Shu Huang, and I am the president of the STUCO organization in our school. I come from Korea, and I was actually born in Korea. I came when I was about like 8 months old, so I was a baby when I came. But yeah, ever since I've been living in Guatemala, I love it here. And honestly, CAG, I feel like it's kind of like a puzzle where all the pieces come together into this one beautiful picture and this one beautiful puzzle. And so I think I kind of serve as one of the pieces, which all come together to create this wonderful creation.
Yeah, well, thanks, guys. Welcome for being here. We're so excited to have you. And we like just to continue with a little trivia, as is our custom. And our first trivia question is, what country does not have an official language or religion? Is it the United States, South Korea, or Guatemala? Our second one, do you want to say it?
Yeah, I can say it. So the second question is, this country is home to 37 volcanoes, and some of them active. So either it's obviously, again, the United States, Guatemala, or South Korea. And then we have one more question, if you'd like to read it.
Our last question is, this country has the fastest 5G internet speeds in the world. South Korea, United States, or Guatemala.
Wow.
And interestingly enough, Mr. Rodas researched today for us the population, how it's divided in ethnicities, and it's actually very interesting. So we have actually a 28% Asian student body. It's 14% white, 2% African American, and 56% Hispanic.
Wow, that's really great. I honestly feel really blessed to be at a school that's so diverse because it gives me so much exposure to the world and different cultures. And STUCO puts on a lot of different events and I'm able to learn more about different cultures. And so the guests already introduced themselves. And so we want to ask you guys, as like Korean people who have moved to Guatemala, what would you say life in Korea is compared to life in Guatemala?
Well, most of my life I've lived here in Guatemala, but for the experiences when I've gone to Korea for like my summer vacation or like my winter vacation, I think it's kind of the difference between pace. And so in a sense, I feel like life in Korea seems a lot more fast paced. There's like subways that are super fast, right? And everything just seems kind of like a business. But in Guatemala, I think it's more like kind of like free, kind of calm. And I think I can just live my life more calmly. And I think it's CAG as well. I think it just provides that reason as well.
Yeah. What about you, Aleem?
I mean, I was born here, and the few times I went to Korea, it's definitely the first thing I look about is the people. It's like radically different from people in Guatemala, whether it be like Koreans raised here versus Koreans raised in Korea. You can definitely feel like a different feel. Like one time I got into like an elevator with like an old man. Let's call him an ajoshi. That's what we call like old guys in Korea. And so I went in and I did my normal like bowing down and like greeting gesture. And he just stared at me. He was like, who is she? And I was like, oh, my bad. But like here, anytime I like greet any ajoshi, ajomma, any person, literally, it's just so normal, and you just feel so welcomed and loved.
And like, would you say like compared to like the people in Korea, do you have like a preference? Do you like the culture and the things that you guys have mentioned? Do you prefer that about Guatemala, or do you actually like it better in Korea? Or like it more like what you guys were saying about in Korea?
Well, I really like Guatemala's environment regarding people, culture, and like the pace of life, as Shu said. But in Korea, it's definitely like a eye-opening experience, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like, because you know how here it's very broad, like anything can happen. But Korea is very structured, I would say. So that's the biggest difference for me.
Yeah. And like you said about different structures, how would you say that things like family life or traditions are like structured in Korea?
Well, I think the values in Korea are different when compared to like pure Korean families that are born in Korea and like Korean families that are here in Guatemala. Well, let's be honest, the Korean culture is really structured on academics and just succeeding in academics. And so I think in Korea, you see a lot of students just going to tutors, going to these academies like after school, and they stay up super late studying. So I think it's just the difference between values and just like what the perspective is between families born completely in Korea and just like living in Korea, or families that are here but are Korean, right?
Yeah.
For sure. And kind of continuing with the topic of education that you guys were saying, what do you guys think are some of the benefits of attending a school with different backgrounds?
Well, we can see all the different cultures, and it definitely just allows us to be more open-minded about things. Like, I know a lot of people who go to an all-white school, right? They are very closed-minded compared to the people that are here at CEG. And this definitely allows us to not be limited to, like, xenophobia, racism, stuff like that. I mean, those are the big things, right? And some stuff that I would say is very important in, like, a multicultural environment is just getting to know about everyone, like everything. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I would say I am blessed to be able to have gone to so many different schools with a lot of diversity. And even though I've been to Guatemalan schools and American schools where there's people from Europe, there's people from all over Asia, when I came to CAG, I was just so amazed at how everyone gets along and how CAG really truly encourages that others learn about each other's cultures, like Guate studies and things like that. And so I think that it's really inspiring to be at a school that really focuses on connecting community no matter where you're from. And so, yeah, I would definitely say that.
Yeah, and I think a lot to do with culture is food.
Yep.
I just last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, one of my friends gave me a Korean food, which I can't remember the name right now. But at first, I didn't want to try it because I don't like trying a lot of new things. I'm more of like a just stay within the same things that I already like person. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. The first bite I took, I was like, and then I took like a second bite, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I started liking it, and then I ended up liking the plate.
The different flavors, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure.
It's like huge, especially like, as you said, Western food versus like Asian food.
Oh,
The flavors, as some
Completely
people say,
different.
like the meme, like the flavors just melt on your tongue. It all mixes in, and it's, that's
Like,
one of the things.
I remember when we first came to the school, my dad loves kimchi. And he was like, I need you to make Korean friends so that I can get kimchi. And honestly, I was really excited too because I love like Korean food, and honestly, any Asian food I'll eat for the most part. But whenever I see you guys at lunch, I'm like, can I have a bite of that? Like, I always want to try it because it really does look good. Do you guys have like any favorite like Guatemalan foods or things that you guys have eaten here that you guys really like?
Specifically Guatemalan food, I really like tacos. I know it's kind of Mexican food, but I think they're just so great. And I think like the ingredients all come together, just like us, like a puzzle, right? They all come together. And I think it just tastes super good. Like gringas, I love gringas. They're great.
Yeah.
I like pepian.
Oh, yeah, pepian.
Oh, it's
so
so traditional. I love it.
For sure.
Yeah, there's no other like way to describe it. You need to try it yourself to taste it. I feel.
Oh yeah.
It's an
Like,
experience.
For sure. It's an
Yeah, especially like an
experience.
Asian, I've never really been like taught to eat those foods, but like
Yeah.
when we went on mission trips, servant days for our school, I got to try some pepian, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is my favorite Guatemalan food.
It really is. Yeah. I remember. So I worked with a team this summer, and I was blessed to be able to translate for them. And we would go work for different families, do construction. And one of the things that like Guatemala is really centered around is giving food to the people who serve them. And so I was able to try some really good food. And like I find that like the best Guatemalan food are like the people who are like out in like the middle of nowhere. Like they will make
that's
the
so
best
true.
food.
That's
Like
true.
it's really good.
In Korean,
Sorry.
we call that taste 엄마 손. Like it's like the mom's touch, like the
Oh
mom's
wow.
hand.
Yeah.
It's like
That's great.
it's like
Uh-huh.
come on, yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys learned to make any Guatemalan foods?
I've only eaten them honestly.
That's same for me. That's same for me.
Yeah, I don't even blame you. And like since you guys obviously are exposed to a lot of cultures here, is there anything like that you've learned, any new customs that you've learned about either in America or in Guatemala that you've learned from other classmates or even other like classes?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like I recently learned that in America, especially like when two people start to date,
Oh.
like the guy gives the like some form of clothing or something to the girl, and I had no clue about it. I mean, okay,
Oh my
like a
God.
lot of Asians, they're trained. Oh, don't date before college. Don't date like in high school. And my mom is no different. You guys know her. And so like when I heard about that, I was like, no way, that's crazy. Because like a bunch of Americans told me first of all, and I think like a lot of Guatemalans told me that as well, and that's something I didn't hear from Asians before. So I think that was, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I think that was very interesting.
Yeah, I remember when me and Michaela we were talking about that, and you were like, "What are you guys talking about?" And we told you, and you were so shocked. But yeah, I definitely like would agree. It's different, and even simple things like that, you're like, "What?" Like that makes no sense. But do you have anything, Shu, that you would like to say?
Yeah, I think like a culture shock for me was like the difference of wearing shoes in your house and not wearing shoes in your
For
house.
sure.
So it's like whenever I go to like my American friend's house, I'm like, oh, do I have to take all my shoes off? And there's like this awkward feeling. But I think it was like a complete different experience. Like, oh, we are always expected to not wear shoes in the house. But then there's just this complete different 180 turn of, oh, you can wear shoes in the house. And I'm like, okay.
And how would you say that Stuco has been able to include all the different cultures into things like events? Are there things that you guys do every year, any kind of events that you guys do to specifically allow people to learn more about other cultures?
Well, one recent event that we had was See You at the Pool. I mean, we were praying for everyone's cultures, everyone's continents, countries, and it was just a great way to interact with each other. And we could even ask, like, people next to us, we'd be like, oh, is there anything you want me to pray for your country? Anything for your continent, just like about your culture and stuff. And I think it was very interesting just to see all the different faces, all the different cultures just come together, and we're all just praying for each other. It was-
Yeah, and speaking of See You at the Pool, I actually have a funny story regarding the different cultures. And I'm sure you remember it, Shu, but we have our chaplain, Mr. Montenegro, and our student chaplain, who is our classmate. Me and Shu were seniors. His name is Jed, right? So when they were trying to plan and figure everything out for See You at the Pole, they're like, okay, we should pray for the continents, right? And then Mr. Montenegro's like, there's 5 continents. And Jed's like, no, there's 7 continents. And then we had this discussion where everyone got involved into the discussion of how many continents there actually are. And it was really funny. Even other teachers got involved and everything. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I remember, so this year I took U.S. history, and I actually learned about that other people, depending on where you went to school, where you grew up, there are different amounts of continents. And I thought that was so crazy. And it really shows you how good CAG is at being able to tell you about how there is a variety of cultures and how a lot of people view things differently and they learn things differently. And so, yeah, I would definitely say that.
Yeah. So Now, do you guys mind telling us a little bit of what you guys do in Stuco? We know you guys are president and vice president, but what exactly does this look like?
Well, Stuco is, again, it's the student council, and we allow students from different classmates to represent their class. And so for middle school, there's only one class representative, but high schoolers, you have the opportunity to choose 2 school representatives or class representatives for a class. And so what we do is we just kind of lead these big events throughout the year for CAG. We plan them out, we plan every single step out, so the students can just have a blast with each other, have fun playing games, have fun like communicating with each other. And we have events like prom, harvest fair, and high school retreat. And it just allows the students to come together, unite them. It invites people to be innovative, to be creative, and to just strategically plan in helping these events come to life, right? And so for us, it's just for us like executive members, like vice president, president, we kind of like are like the supervisors in a sense, right? We look over them, we're like, oh yeah, and we put them on the correct path. And not the president, but the other executive members like president, secretary, vice president, secretary, and spirit coordinator, they actually have to host an event. And so that's a major responsibility for those executive members.
Yeah, what does hosting an event look like, if you don't mind, Alim?
Hosting event is tiring. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, sure.
first I want to thank Michaela for hosting Harvest Fair. Harvest Fair is like October 26th. And so like she's been working really hard on it, right? So hosting an event basically looks like you're setting up a plan, you're giving teams, you're getting materials. It's basically just like an outline of an essay, but for an event, right?
Yeah.
Great.
So, and it's just like a lot of people coming together, working together. And even though we're like, they're like Stuco representatives, it's still very hard and tiring to kind of work through it. And just hosting an event is such a big responsibility, and I really respect it. Yeah.
100%.
And so kind of tying into Stuco and multicultural, is there any way that you think Stuco or even CAG could improve in like promoting understanding and appreciation of different cultures? Is there anything that you would like to see?
Well, I heard a lot of different schools do culture fairs like every year or so, and I kind of want to do that because I think it's kind of different from CU at the pole. I know culture fairs have like food, clothing, and just like, you know, talking about their culture, and I think that's really interesting. And another way I would say is like clubs. I remember we used to have clubs a couple years back, and one of them were like a Korean club. I really like it, and so I think we should bring clubs back. Have like Korean club, Guatemalan club, United States club, like the
so
whole
great.
union, you know. So I think it'd be really fun if we had that.
Yeah, I went to a school, 5th grade and 6th grade year, and they had like a culture day. And I remember thinking it was really fun. Everyone kind of chose a country and they would research it. They would come dressed up. They had a whole presentation. My favorite part was the food. They would bring all kinds of food. And I do think that it was a really good way to give exposure to the students who may not know about those kinds of things. And so what would you say your opinion is on that, Daniel?
I think it's something that, although we may have, I think we should encourage it somewhat more, because even though we're obviously exposed to our classmates, to different teachers of different cultures, like specifically learning different customs can help you see the world in a different way. For example, you might see that your classmate does something, but understanding the why behind it, I think, is really important as well, to understand the world and yeah, to help you pretty much in everything. Because as you were saying, Alim, that helps you to be open-minded, right? So do you guys have anything else you would like to share with us, or
Any announcements?
Yeah.
Well, we have Harvest Fair coming up, as I think a lot of our students may know. It's October 26th, and so we'll just hope to see you guys. We'll have a lot of fun games, and as we stated, our theme is
Sci-fi. Sci-fi. So make sure to come dressed in like sci-fi movies from like the past, the future. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And as Olivia said, my favorite part of everything is basically food, and we'll have food there. So make sure you join us at Harvest Fair. We'll have lots of fun, lots of food, and just have a great time interacting with everyone's cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what time is the Harvest Fair?
Well, we haven't decided completely yet, but I believe it'll be from 4 to 8 or 7
Oh,
along the
okay.
timeline of that.
It's
Okay.
more of an afternoon time, yeah.
For
Very
sure.
nice.
For sure.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for talking to us. It was so fun being able to talk to you guys and hear about your guys' opinions, hear about Stuco. And so the last thing that we want to do before we say goodbye to you guys is read a Bible verse. Would you like to read it, Daniel?
Sure, it's Galatians 3:28, and it says, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus."
Wow.
So we'd love to get your opinions on what you guys think and how this verse relates to what we've been talking about during the episode.
Right, so this verse basically just shines a light on everything that God wants us to be. He wants us to be equal because inside, we're all just the same, right? We're all people, we're all sinful, we're all just children of God. And, He made us all equally. And just the fact that we have such a multicultural environment around us and that we can share love with every single person just shows how strong God's love can be. And
for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yushu?
I agree. I think unification is such an important thing, especially in a Christian community. And I think that's ultimately what God desires, right? Because again, just as Aleem stated, we are all humans and we are all, in a sense, equal. And so I think for us, it's so important to include everyone. But I believe that God indeed does give us different talents, different abilities. Well, Daniel may be good at speaking. I may be super athletic, right? But I think with those things, we have different things to bring to the table. And we, again, create this wonderful puzzle that all work together to create this amazing picture and this amazing thing for God, where we can glorify God in whatever we do, in whatever we speak, in whatever we think. And so I think, communication and staying together and unification in the Christian body is so important, especially in our school as well, and just in church as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you once again, guys, for being here, for accepting the invitation to this episode, and for just coming in and giving us your thoughts and opinions. Now, on to the trivia answers that we had at the beginning. The answer for the first question is that the U.S. actually does not have an official language, although some states do list English as theirs. However, nationally, it does not. The second question is, or the second answer is, Guatemala has 37 volcanoes, and I've actually climbed Pacaya, and I think 8th grade or 7th grade is usually
I think so.
climb Pacaya, right? Do you guys remember?
I think it's 8th grade.
Yeah, with Mr. Lurimer.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's super fun.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to say the last answer?
Yeah, sure, go
Okay.
on.
So the last answer is that South Korea has the fastest mobile internet, making the country a leader in many things to do with technology. I don't know. But
It was cut off.
yeah, I got caught up. But I'm not very surprised, because if there's one thing that I know about Asia, specifically Korea and China, is that it's very technologically advanced. But that's a really interesting thing to know. But thank you guys all so much for being here, for watching the video. And thank you so much to Shu and Aleem for being here for the interview. And we really appreciate you guys answering our questions and being able to hear about you. So yeah, thank you.
And we appreciate it, honestly, just inviting us and this opportunity. I think it was just such a great, fun time having to talk with you guys. And just thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, now thank you to everyone who has been watching this episode. Remember that this is our Cougar cast, and we release episodes weekly, so make sure to subscribe and to stay tuned to all our channels. And we hope to see you guys next week.